happily do it. Is there a way to let me share screen? Whoever that person is over in town of Southborough?
Who is now gone.
I think they're handling us kind
Yeah,
of.
I think she just enabled it. So
Oh, great.
go.
Okay.
All right, so here are the minutes as Dave was beginning to recite. Dave was down to around here. Identify, consider, and recommend to the Board of Selectmen opportunities to expand the course's use. There's some detail there. The fourth item was consider and prioritize recommendations for course improvement, including the items held over from the 2019 final report and long-term improvement plan, which John Boland distributed to us in hard copy. We did do a little bit of discussion around that. The things that that were noteworthy that I caught anyhow were surfacing the approach and parking lot where the cars go, and irrigating the fairways somewhere down the road. Those were the two that I caught. There may have been others.
Those would be my two big ones if we had money.
Right. As long as we're right on that subject, let me just explain something also. I was talking with Sam Stivers, called me and wanted to know if there were any things that he could start to get in front of the Board of Selectmen in terms of things that we were looking at going forward and so forth. And I told him that the two of the primary considerations that we were looking at initially would be to complete the paving of the driveway and the entrance and see if there was a way we could somehow tie the ongoing projects in the town for roadways, so that if it meant maybe doing 20% with leftover asphalt, and another 20% at the end of each construction day or whatever, so that the trucks would be going back to their facility empty, but we'd also be getting whatever we needed to in stages get that whole roadway and parking lot done. So he was going to do that as a sort of like a heads up with the Board of Selectmen. And I'm just trying, what was the other main thing? Oh, the question of irrigation for the course. And we consider that to be one of the top priorities. And he was going to mention that, and also see if there was anything where we could perhaps run a couple of test well sites. Somebody that might be doing some other work in town that could do some of that for us also. So he's at least getting some of the information in front of the board, so it won't come as a shock or a surprise when we make an official report to them from the golf course committee. So I just thought I'd inject that conversation.
Okay, but just so we get through our item, I'll take us back to the minutes.
Okay.
Thank you for that. The next item was the complaint from the person who was injured on Lotusquama Road. Again, the detail is in there. The action items coming out of that were for both Sam and Dave to consult with the chair of the Board of Selectmen to see if she had addressed that complaint at all. But rather than follow up on that, and another action item was for yours truly to do an investigation of where the fence is and isn't, and what the gaps look like and what their length is. And I've got that information for later on. Construction of the new practice putting green was not discussed. The architect was supposed to show up the following week. I understand she did not. We didn't discuss the existing management contract, so that was an agenda item that we passed by. And there was the public comment, which is detailed to the extent that I was able to capture the details in here. And then we adjourned about an hour and 10 minutes into the session. There were a couple of documents. I noticed that this is a regular feature of minutes that you're supposed to list out the documents that were considered. So we have that 2019 final report and long-term improvement plan. And we had received by email on the side the management and maintenance agreement between the town and the operator.
Okay. All right, well, I think, are there any questions on Ira's report?
I'm good.
Okay, then I'll make a motion that we accept it as submitted by Ira.
And I will second it.
All in favor?
Yep.
Yep, yep.
Cool.
Okay. The next thing we might as well do right now. One of the things that in his walk around the course recently was Ira made some observations on the fencing area in question up near Latasquama. And do you want to address that now, Ira?
Yep, I'll throw that up on a shared screen as well. Oh, we got disabled again. How do you like that? Oh, friend from the town of Southborough, can you enable me again? Thank you. So last week I took a walk along Latasquama and the fence line, did some rough measurements, just paced off the gaps, and the fence itself that exists is between 10 and 12 feet high, depending upon the spot you pick. There were, to my way of thinking, 3 quote unquote gaps, and they're not presented here in my order of what I think are the most important, but rather just from north to south. The first one is adjacent to, it's basically bounded by the back and the front tees of number 7. So if you visualize things, you've got the third green to the left of those tee boxes. The tee boxes themselves are not fenced off of Latasquama. And then the fencing begins essentially at where the forward tees end up and runs the length of the remainder of hole number 7. The second gap is there's a fence behind green number 3, as I think we all know. It stops at a point that I didn't have an actual landmark for, but it stops before the number 4 tee box begins. And from that point to the left edge of the number 4 tee box is a running distance of about 115 feet. That struck me as being probably the most likely to experience stray golf balls, because an approach to 3 that is hit off to the right and or long could hit that spot and conceivably not have a fence to stop it. There is, as you'll probably remember, an interior fence not bounding Latasquama between, basically to the left of the number 4 tee box, to protect it from, to protect the folks on the tee box from overlong shots coming into the 6th green. So I used that as a landmark, basically. That was just the line that I used. From that point forward, from that interior fence, going as far up number 6 as one chooses to go, I chose to stop at the driveway of number 48 Latasquama, just based on the terrain. There's another run of 230 feet that one could consider to be fenced. Personally, I would not advocate for that because 2 things. First of all, number 6 has been arranged such that there's high rough and the fairway is taking you away from the road. Basically, your tee shot wants to go to the left, and if it doesn't go to the left, there's an awful lot of very high rough to catch strays. And there's also what I'll call a berm. There's a difference in height between the street and the end of the golf course of typically about 6 feet. It varies, of course. So I called number, whatever it was, number 48 Ladasquama, the last possible place that somebody might mishit an approach shot into number 6. I didn't consider tee shots off the number 6 tee. And so the 3 potential gaps that I identified were, again, 65 feet-ish, 115 feet-ish, and 200 plus feet as potential opportunities to be chewed over.
Okay. Any thoughts on that, Jay?
No,
Okay. I want that to go in the minutes, and then we'll get the comments from the management company in terms of what their thoughts are.
Cool.
You'll put that in there, right?
Well, I didn't take that. There is on the existing fencing, there is a little tag that says who installed the fence. It's one of the local vendors, but I didn't remember who it was, so I didn't
Right.
write it down.
Right.
would it make any bit of a difference? And I don't know if it would, if we just put a sign on one of the fences too, like even if we put one every 100 feet or 100 yards and just said, caution, golf ball may fly over the fence. Just so that there's some type of caution warning and people can understand that, yeah, there is a chance that it might go over.
Yeah, that's exactly one of the thoughts that I gave. I think that it would prudent.
Can't hurt. It can only help us.
Right, but just to say, be aware
Yeah.
that could be an errant golf shot, and pay attention if there are golfers, if you see golfers at play.
Right. I mean, it can't hurt. And at least there's a warning, and because you don't want people to walk by like, well, no one ever told me that there could be a golf ball flying by.
Right, right.
So, I mean, if we had 15 of those signs made and we just put them somewhere.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, I'll add that to this.
I mean, there could be one on the clubhouse because coming up on 9, if you're halfway in the fairway and you clip a 7-iron, that can slice right into the clubhouse pretty quickly, or
Yep.
hit the people on the tee box. You can even put a little something on the tee box. Please be careful of approaching shots on the tee box for 1.
Understood.
Right.
Okay, I'll add that to this little narrative and put that as part of the notes for this meeting.
Right.
I'm reluctant to let go of the screen share just because I have one other thing to show, and if I let go of it, then,
Go ahead.
but it's a different topic. So
Okay, we can go to that. Is that the what you wanted to do on your information gathering on the other?
yeah,
Sure.
so this goes to that other agenda item that we had. And I don't want to fuss over this right now. I just want to say I spent a few minutes on the web gathering fees and membership options and discount options from some local, quote unquote, competitive, i.e. 9-hole golf courses in the area, just to put them in one place. I didn't draw any conclusions of my own from this. And I don't know that their websites are accurate, but this is what's posted on the web for now for these several sites.
I think all we need to do is admit that as a report that you were able to put together, and we'll put it in as part of the minutes.
Cool. I think at some point, probably with the operator, we could discuss
Exactly.
any recommendations that we might want them to consider. We talked about it a little bit at the previous meeting, notions of a resident discount, notions of, I don't know, I forget what else we said.
Junior membership fees, all.
Right. So this is just, again, information regarding
what the competition has out there.
Pretty much the competition within whatever a 15-mile radius.
Right.
And now I'll stop sharing.
Okay. Well, thank you for that, Ira. Very helpful.
Sure thing.
All right. The next thing is, and I know you have a copy of this, Ira, but I want to read into the minutes the correspondence from Betsy Carroll. And basically, I'll just read it. It's very short. Say, dear David, the CPC has received a copy of the plans for the Southborough Golf Course. Would you kindly send the following: copy of the plans, 1. 2, the list of plants. All plant materials aside from turf must be state species, non-cultivar and native to New England. Item 3, an update on the status of work. The CPC is meeting tomorrow night, meaning Thursday. And we would like to have an update to report to the full committee. All the best, Betsy Carroll, on behalf of Andrew Mills. Well, needless to say, we don't have that information right now. I'm going to toss it back over to the town administrator in case he has the answers or partial answers that he can provide them with, but we're not in a position to answer that letter right at this moment. Any other thoughts on that?
I agree. We simply don't have the information.
Right. Okay. The other question I actually had for the management company, which we'll have to put into the minutes as a question for the management company, is based on what we all received, the final report from in 2019 from the then Golf Course Committee, was they had as recommendations on a hole by hole improvement plan, which was very detailed, and it would be interesting to know what, if any, actions were taken based on those recommendations. Any other thoughts on that particular item?
No other thoughts from me. I noted it down, so it'll go in the minutes.
The other thing that was in their report was their comments about their item 4, the committee charge at that time, where it said the committee shall work with the Community Preservation Committee, CPC, which is who we had the letter from, to explore opportunities to make applications to the CPC for administrative consultants, studies and or design funding for the golf course. And because that's tied in with this letter that I read from Betsy, we'll have to find out what, if any, interactions have taken place since the committee submitted this report in 2019. Let me just see. Oh, I was going to say that one of the things that Ira read in the minutes from last was that the architect that was expected on that Wednesday, August 25th, I was supposed to meet with, and it was a no-show. They had rescheduled, but I didn't receive any word on that. So I spent about an hour in the clubhouse at the course, and I guess it wasn't totally wasted, because before I left, I got pigeonholed by Ms. Gillespie for about a 20-minute period, telling us what she was interested in. So but I do understand based on a conversation I had with Mark that they were putting the finishing touches on the new green, the practice green, and on the sod around the slope and on the irrigation for it. So I don't have an actual report based on something that I've seen, but Mark indicated that they were pretty close to completion on that, which should take place within a day or two.
Let me just shout out quickly because I think it falls under the banner of citizen comments, but there's a Q&A item that I don't want us to ignore when the time comes. It's there. It's about a tree requiring pruning along the driveway.
Right. The other thing was, as noted by Ira, we had that letter that had come in from Aaron Cox, who had been hurt, and was waiting for the report that I submitted, saying what it looks like we should have for recommendations along that area. And now that we have that report and Ira's observations, I'm going to talk with Lisa on the board, see how the selectmen want to proceed in terms of either answering her or contacting her. So I'll follow up on that with Lisa on the board. And what is it you wanted to have, Ira?
I just wanted us to take note that a person named Holly has put I'll call it a request in the question and answer feature of Zoom. I'll read it. The large, beautiful tree by the driveway needs to be pruned. There are dead branches that could cause damage to the tree and stuff parked below it, not to mention any people. I've emailed the management company a couple of times over the past couple of years, and they said they'd do something about it, but it has not been trimmed. Thank you.
Okay, we'll put that into the minutes, and then the management company when they will address it.
I'm not sure that I will be able to capture the verbatim Q&A. I don't know if the town records that or not. I'm trying to snip it right now.
Okay.
I'll
I
try.
think if you can't, the summarization would be satisfactory, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got it. Good.
Okay. Jay, anything particular mind?
No, I'm good. As long as if we could get irrigation, I think that it would it would double the amount of play at the course.
Yeah, I think it's a top priority, and
It is, right. All the kids, like my son, right, who's 16 years old, who, whenever they refer to the course, they always say, do you want to go to Juniper or do you want to play the dirt track?
except for this year, right?
And that's what they call it, the dirt track. That's what it's been known for these kids forever.
Sure, I understand.
Yeah. So it'd be nice to turn that around for the next set of kids coming through.
Yeah.
And
I agree. I think it's and the thing is that the irrigation really only has to be
it's not that much.
no, and it's confined to the fairways and the greens. The
Right.
rough is rough.
Right, like on the third hole, if you put the irrigation in the middle of the third hole, you can hit the two other holes on the side of it. And that would actually hit one of the greens. I mean, if you strategically place those things, they can hit the majority of it. There's not many holes that are just siloed by themselves.
Yeah. But I mean, that's a type of thing that the professionals could easily design. It's just a question of
Right.
entering into a plan. And I think, and this came up in my conversation with Sam Stivers today, that where we're not operating in the red, we're operating in the black, and we're able to salt aside some money. And if the projections, reasonable projections, allow us to say we're going to experience X amount of revenue on average, that will show us X amount going into our coffers, not just the management company. Perhaps there's a bond issue that can be put out. There's other, ways maybe it could be financed, but it would be an improvement that would benefit everybody.
And I don't know, I mean, obviously this is thinking way long term, and I don't know if it's even possible just with the zoning in there, but if we have all of these leagues that are running through there, if they could sit down and have a burger after, they would probably all stay.
Mhm.
Instead of having a 6-pack of crackers. But if they could have a beer and a drink and sit down after and sit out on the deck, you would probably increase that by an enormous amount of money just on food revenue.
Yeah, well, it's a question of creating a different atmosphere.
Right, exactly.
Facility,
Right,
because
but we have
right
to get
now,
people to come to the course first.
right now, you've got a typical out of the car trunk operation where people
Exactly.
have their bags, their shoes, and then they go back to the bags and shoes. Maybe some
Right.
guys might have a cooler in their car, who knows? But
Right.
it's not a sit and stay type of facility right now.
No, it's definitely not. It'd be great to get it to it.
Right. And it can be done. No question about
I'll
it.
tell you, like Shining Rock. Have you ever played Shining Rock?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, totally different league of courses. There are people that go there for dinner that have never played golf a day in their life.
Mhm.
And they just go to the clubhouse to have dinner once a week.
Right.
Like, we'll never get it to that level.
Well,
But
I don't think we're going to get like a full service dining room.
right, exactly not. But
There's no reason why, if the demand is there and we can show that type of demand, that we
Right.
can't some sort of maybe like a little short order grill or certainly expand that type of facility to make it not just we finished the 9th hole, or if you're playing 18, the 18th hole, and I'll see you next time, guys, and get in the car.
it's not even a thought after these leagues play 9 to
Right.
walk in and get a beer and sit on the deck. Like you said, they're literally finish 9 and they go straight to their car.
Exactly. So, and I think that the questions come into play is there a demand? I can't believe that there wouldn't be a demand.
There
I'm
always is. People, right. People don't want to just play and then just get in their car and drive home. They want to.
How far do you go with the facility? I would say you don't have to go to the nth degree, but you need to at least have a basic facility available, and it can be self-serve. I mean, it doesn't have to. You don't have to have waiters and extra staff necessarily,
No. But if they just had a little flat top and just made cheeseburgers, some cheeseburgers and fresh hot dogs like that.
Exactly.
I mean, that alone would probably keep 20 people.
And maybe a fryer later.
Yeah, exactly. Something easy.
Okay. We'll put that in our to-do list, recommended list.
Yeah, that'll be for 22 or 23.
But I don't think it should be kicked down the road too far, because I think it's all part of making the facility not only improved in terms of the playing, but also in terms of it being a gathering spot.
Right.
A social spot too.
Yeah.
Okay, good point. Okay, I don't really have anything else right now. And we don't have any other attendees.
Well, we do, actually.
Oh.
It's interesting with Zoom, there are 7 participants, and there's another Q&A in there also, but the other participants are not identified, at least insofar as I can see.
Okay.
So we do have another Q&A. I'll just point it out. I've already snipped it into my note-taking. Tim asks, what is the opportunity to trim the trees around the tee boxes? Specifically the white tees at hole number 3 or the red tees on hole number 6. The tee boxes there are atrocious from tree cover, and number 6 was just replaced.
My answer to Tim, I think for the committee, would be that we can't give them an exact time and date, but we'll recommend to the management company that they attend to that.
Yeah, and I've taken it down in the notes.
Okay, and she said that you have another one.
Those are the only 2 that are in the Q&A. There are, just so we know, there are participants who are not identified by any means that I can figure out. But
Okay, they're viewers, attendees.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and hopefully some of the things we're discussing answer some of the questions that they might have or we're looking to see discussed. And as we go forward, we'll continue to come up with more items, and hopefully we'll be able to improve the course and make it a little bit of a jewel in the crown for the community. Even more so than it already is.
Yeah. Again, just a Zoom thing that I'm accustomed to Zoom, but not this particular instance of it. Tim also raised his hand, but I don't know that any of us has the ability to do anything about that. I don't think we can turn somebody's microphone on.
I can do that for you if you'd like me to.
Thank you.
Great.
Tim, I believe we can hear you.
Perfect. Great. I was the one that asked the question about the tee boxes. When I asked the course about management of them, they said that there was red tape around trimming trees due to trustees. So I didn't know if that's worth bringing up here, because the course did show interest in trying to trim stuff, but they said that they've been getting red tape to that. And I did want to make a comment to your discussion about food at the course. I mean, I play there with a league, and if there was an opportunity for even a draft option,
Right.
maybe a something that was local. We have plenty of local breweries nearby.
Right.
That would be an enticing option as well,
Right.
which I'd be happy to
Crackers and
participate
a Diet Pepsi isn't keeping people.
in. So
Right.
those were my 2 comments.
Great, appreciate that very much.
Likewise. Just taking notes as I said that.
And do we have any other comments from anybody that would like to, questions?
Nothing else visible to me.
Okay. Right, at this point, we still don't know what the plans are going forward in terms of people to hold meetings, whether we're gonna have to stay on a remote basis or be able to do in-person meetings, but when would the committee like to meet again?
Well, our plan was to do it the second Wednesday of every month.
Yeah, does that work for you, Jay?
Second Wednesday is the 13th of October. That should work, yeah.
The same time?
Earlier in the morning works better for me than late in the day, because my late in the day gets crazier as I go. I don't know what works for you guys.
Well, my only thinking is where we don't have any other attendees today. We'd like to get as many participants, including the golf management representative involved in these meetings too. And at this point, I'm not sure what would work best, afternoon or morning. Any thoughts on that?
I don't have a clue. I'm able
I don't know- I
to
don't
do
know
it.
their availability.
Well, we could make a tentative schedule. I mean, the morning works for me also. And then if in the meantime we find out that the available, because I'd really like to have the management company involved in some of these meetings to be able to answer questions posed by viewers and by ourselves. You know, and schedule it for a morning meeting subject to change based on availability of the management company. Thoughts on that?
Sounds good to me.
What do you think would be a good time? What's a good time for you, Jay?
I mean, the earlier the better for me. Usually golf course management guys are usually up and running pretty early.
Yeah,
So, I mean, if we could do like even the 9 a.m. would be
9
great.
on my end.
I mean, I'd go as early as 7 or 8, but I don't think that's gonna be feasible.
Uh,
But if we did 9, at least town offices are open at 9.
right, which would also allow us
To video and record and have somebody help us if we need it.
right.
Right.
How's
As
that?
long as if it's remote, 9 o'clock works great.
Works for me.
At this point, it looks like it may be, but there's no way of telling. That's a
We
town.
can always change it if we need to. We're still a month out.
Right,
So we'll go with October 13th.
October 13th, 9 a.m.
Yep. All right, I just booked it on my calendar, 9 to 10.
Okay. And anything else anybody wants to bring up for the moment?
Good on my end.
Not here. I'll
Okay.
move to adjourn.
All right, awesome.
Sounds good. Everybody take care.
All right, you too.
And Jay, keep your head down.
I try.
Okay. Take care.
All right, bye, guys.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.